first at 9.
Minister of Sports Mahindananda Alutgamage expressed these views while addressing a rally held in Galaha, Kandy.
All of you in the estate sector worked for CWC or the UNP in the past. All the votes in the estates were cast for either the elephant or the rooster. The rooster and the elephant contested together. People in the estates remain loyal to the CWC and Thondaman, but what has happened to the estate sector? What has the CWC given to you? People in villages are living happily because they have been given houses, roads, electricity and water. The same facilities have not been provided to the estates and line home dwellers. The President said that equal opportunity should be given to people in the estate sector as well. As you know, I am the Minister of Sports. If you are facing any issue, you are free to call me. Can you speak to Minister Thondaman over the phone? Can you cut your hair like him? He only attends a rally in Kandy once every 5 years.
The Indian central government has informed its Supreme Court that an issue on the retrieval of the Kachativu island would not arise. The Indian central government had also informed the Indian Supreme Court that India had not given Sri Lanka any landmass belonging to India.
According to a report on the Hindu newspaper, this response was issued yesterday by the Indian central government in connection to a writ petition filed by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha Jairam. The petition filed in December 2008 sought a writ declaration that the agreements between New Delhi and Colombo on the ceding of Kachativu in 1974 and 1976 were unconstitutional. In its response, the Indian central government had informed the Supreme Court that the dispute relating to the status of this island was settled in 1974 by an agreement, adding that both countries examined the entire question from all angles and took into account historical evidence and legal aspects when reiterating the position in 1976. The Hindu newspaper also reports that the Indian government had informed the Supreme Court that Indian fishermen were not permitted to engage in fishing activities in Sri Lankan waters, according to the agreement that was reached between India and Sri Lanka. However, under the agreement, Indian fishermen and pilgrims are able to enjoy access to visit Kachativu and will not require travel documents or visas. In its response, the Indian government reiterates that the right given to enter the Kachativu Islands should not be misunderstood as right given to the Indian fishermen to engage in fishing activities in water surrounding the islands. The central government had emphasized to the Supreme Court that it did grant any landmass that belonged to India.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching News First, and up next is Action TV.
On Thursday, Action TV highlighted the series of incidents that took place from Monday evening to Thursday morning, relating to a complaint filed at the LPT police station by a clerk attached to the LPT Magistrates Court. According to the B report presented in court by the LPT police over the complaint filed by the plaintiff court clerk, the incident met by the court clerk was that when he was on his way home, an individual who arrived in a car had gotten off the vehicle and dealt blows to the head and the neck of the plaintiff. The B report also notes that the complainant had violated traffic laws and as a result his motorbike had ended up in front of the car driven by the suspect. After the complaint was filed at the police did not take steps to hospitalize the complainant. It depicts that the complainant had not been injured from the incident that is said to have taken place. However, the individual suspected to have committed the assault was arrested by the police a short while after the complaint was filed and the suspect's car was seized. According to the contents of the B report, the suspect has committed an offence punishable under sections 314 and 315 of the Penal Code. An individual suspected of committing such an offence can be granted police bail in accordance with section 6 of the Bail Act. However, the suspect was produced before court the very next day and court ordered that the suspect placed under remand custody for 14 days. However, 2 days later, the suspect was released without any bail condition following a motion that was filed. Neither the suspect or the relatives were aware that a motion had been filed. If the series of incidents that took place depict that everyone is equal before the law, this individual, a resident from Balapitia who is said to have faced the aforementioned incident, should not have been considered as disabled when implementing the law. When this individual filed a complaint for the second time at the Ahungala police on the 28th, the Balapitia Hospital police should have recorded a statement from him on the 26th, as he was hospitalized on the morning of the 26th, based on the incident that is said to have taken place on the night of the 25th. Isn't it the law itself that is being put into a shameful position on the complaint filed by this individual at the Ahongala police under CIB 1390/409?
Tonight on Words of Wisdom, we bring you the thoughts of Italian painter, sculptor, architect and visionary Leonardo da Vinci.
Nothing strengthens authority so much as silence. Leonardo da Vinci.
In news overseas, UN chemical weapons inspectors in Syria to probe an alleged poison gas attack that killed hundreds have left Damascus for Beirut, having completed 4 days of site visits and evidence gathering.
Yes, the experts departed their hotel in the Syrian capital this morning after having carried out a final day of inspections yesterday.
The inspectors are seeking to determine what exactly happened in an alleged chemical weapon strike that killed hundreds in the Damascus suburbs on the 21st of August. The departure of the UN experts has heightened expectations of a possible international military strike against government forces. UN officials say it may take weeks to analyze the samples gathered and to present conclusions, and UN spokesperson Martin Nazarki said that the inspectors would return to the country to investigate several other alleged chemical weapons attacks that have taken place during the country's 2.5-year uprising against President Bashar al-Assad. Today's pullout comes as Washington suggested that the UN investigation would have no bearing on its decision about whether to attack Syria in retaliation for the alleged poison gas attack on civilians.
I have said before, and I meant what I said, that the world has an obligation to make sure that we maintain the norm against the use of chemical weapons. Now, I have not made a final decision about various actions that might be taken to help enforce that norm. But as I've already said, I have had my military and our team look at a wide range of options, but we are looking at the possibility of a limited, narrow act that would help make sure that not only Syria but others around the world understand that the international community cares about maintaining this chemical weapons ban and norm.
Meanwhile, military planes were seen flying over an airbase in Turkey today as the United States mulls over their response to chemical weapons attacks in Syria. The airbase is a NATO airbase outside the city of Adana, where US troops are also stationed. The US has also dispatched a number of destroyers and submarines in preparation for a possible offensive.
South Africa's presidency says that reports that the country's former president Nelson Mandela has been discharged from hospital are incorrect.
The presidency said in a statement that Mandela's condition was critical but stable, but at times became unstable, prompting medical intervention. The 95-year-old was admitted with a recurring lung infection on the 8th of June. His prolonged hospital stay has caused concern both in South Africa and abroad. Foreign media reports say the family has long hoped that he would improve sufficiently at least to enable him to make the journey home in the Johannesburg suburb of Houghton and be treated there. But one of the sources, quoted by the international media, has now spoken of being misinformed about Mandela's release. The infection is said to date back to a period of nearly 3 decades he spent in prison for anti-apartheid activity.
First up, in some rugby news, Sri Lanka have qualified for the quarter-finals of the Asian Rugby Sevens that will be played for the Cup after beating Kazakhstan in the first round.
Sri Lanka are competing in Group D in the preliminary round of the Asian Rugby Sevens in Malaysia, along with Japan and Kazakhstan, and played 2 matches today. Sri Lanka locked horns against Kazakhstan in their opening encounter. The Lankans led 7-0 at the half whistle. Sri Lanka dominated the entire game, keeping their opponents at bay, scoring another 14 points in the second half and went on to win the game 21-0. Meanwhile, in the second round of the Asian Rugby Sevens, Japan overpowered the Lankans and won the game 29-14. Accordingly, Sri Lanka stands in second place in Group D. Sri Lanka will take on Malaysia in the quarterfinals that will be played for the Cup tomorrow.
All is not lost for Sri Lanka as well.
Now in some rowing, the Colombo Rowing Club won the regatta with a 62-point lead against their rivals, the Karachi Boat Club, at the inaugural regatta, which was organised by the Colombo Rowing Club itself. The Rowing Club of Colombo organised its annual regatta today, which commenced at 1:30 this afternoon. The regatta consisted of 12 races for both ladies and gents and was graced by the Pakistan High Commissioner, Her Excellency Mrs. Amana Baloch. The Colombo Rowing Club is the premier boat club in Sri Lanka and successfully completed its inaugural regatta between the Colombo Rowing Club and the Karachi Boat Club. The Colombo Rowing Club managed to win the regatta with the ladies 30 points and men 32 points, while the Karachi Boat Club obtained only 14 points with the ladies and 8 points and men 6 points.
Well, that's a wrap from all of us here at News First. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm Sonali Wanigabadake.
And I'm Madhush Syria. Have a very good evening.
Hotline 0114-896-896 www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.